The views and opinions of the hosts are those of the hosts and not of the companies they are affiliated with. No inside information is known, and if there is, it will not be revealed. Occasional bad language may be used. Why, hello there. Welcome back.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you.
So our winter vacation is over. I guess it's probably time to go back to this podcast thing that we used to do.
We did survive Florida winter, though.
I know, it got to, I think, what? I think 30s?
Low 30s, yeah.
Low 30s for at least 2 or 3 nights, which was, it was rough.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, sorry everybody for making you wait so long for another episode to come out. If you haven't ever been to Orlando or Florida, during the holiday season, it gets rather intense and crazy down here. And it doesn't matter where you work, you're crazy busy. Pretty much it's just busy. We didn't have time to do an episode. Plus you left the country and did other stuff, so yeah. So we're here.
Yeah, and then you get, after the crazy busy, it slows down. Then you have all the things that you neglected during the crazy busy time. You had to catch up on those, and so here we are now, 19 days into the new year.
So I guess we can kind of call this season 2. But so I had an idea for doing a show that's, I mean, all of our past shows recently have been different shows, but this is kind of a show idea that we said we were not going to do, but then I decided we should do it anyway. So I kind of, in my mind, I'm always thinking about what parks should add and what they should do, and you know, the grand scheme of everything. And that includes also parks that we said we weren't going to do on this, like the Walt Disney World properties. And I realized that I had a pretty extensive bullet point list of stuff I'd like to see, but they're not broken down into 2016, 2017, 2018. It's just kind of like the overarching next 10 to 15 years. And so I decided we should just do an episode on this, because our opening episode for the show was Cedar Point, which is a major episode. So why not open up season 2 with another major episode and just do all of Walt Disney World?
Yeah, and now here we are, opening up season 2 with all of Walt Disney World.
So I approached Drew and said,
"That's me.
Hey, let's go ahead and break it down. Make an episode. Make a list first of all." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Make a list. Mine's already done. It's huge." And you're like, "Okay." So we have lists. I have not seen yours. You have not seen mine. We have not discussed any of these things with each other. I think that's going to be the fun of this.
Which is insane, because we have seen each other more since our last episode than we did in the entire time of all of our episodes combined.
I know. It's too bad. We should just start carrying an audio recorder, and we can just record a podcast wherever we go.
Yeah, a lot of background noise, though.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. But anyway, so this episode is going to be broken down. We're going to do each individual park. So your Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom. We're also going to do the water parks as a whole, so both of them together. Disney Springs, I figured that is something that they're putting a lot of money into, so we probably should talk about it. And then our end of this whole episode is going to be just the wild card. I didn't really define wild card to Drew. I just said wild card. So I have no idea what he has even thought of. So this is going to be kind of fun to kind of discuss and see where we're at with this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured, why not start a little small, and why not start at the water parks?
All right. I'll tell you what I think's coming very soon to the near future to the water parks.
Okay.
That we could see something as far as next week for the water parks. Probably won't be next week. It'll probably be much further down the road, but definitely this year. I think we will see a dramatic increase in water park cost. So that way the water parks are lined up with what Universal is charging for their water park. Because I don't see Disney treating their water park like a second tier park if Universal is considering it the third gate. Most people go to the water parks, it's because they have the water park fun and more option on their card anyway. So it's not going to really change the attendance level. I just think it's going to change the perceived perception of the value of the water parks if you're charging much more than you are now.
So basically you think they're going to treat it as the 5th and 6th park.
I don't think you'll see the words from that, but I think the price point will be much higher and much more in line with the admission to the theme parks. Because of right now, the water parks are a good $30, $40 cheaper than your... I mean, I can't tell you exactly how much cheaper they are, but I know that they are dramatically cheaper than your admission to the parks. And I don't see that being a much longer thing. I think you're going to see the prices go up and match in like that.
Okay. I could definitely see that. Them kind of pushing, especially like in just marketing, like advertising why you need to go to the water parks more.
Mm-hmm.
For me, one of my bullet points, I think that they're not going to build anything for a while, but they are going to add in a new record-breaking slide in the next 10 to 15. Most likely the speed record.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to add the fastest water slide, because they don't have the tallest anymore, but they did for a long time.
Yeah, Blizzard Beach did. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Misfortune Falls is coming to this year. They announced the new slide coming to Typhoon Lagoon.
Yeah,
But I don't think anything else. I agree. I really don't think you'll see a whole lot anytime soon.
and then I've only got one other bullet point for water parks,
Uh-huh.
and it's that I think Magic Band Plus is introduced, and it's going to be a hold place in a line similar to Tapu Tapu.
I totally think if Tapu Tapu is working and they like that, I could see Disney trying to come up with something. And that also goes along with the lines of making your price higher so less people want to go and giving a better experience to those who come.
Because the new bands have batteries, do they not?
I have no idea about the new bands. I just know the puck can come in and out, and I don't really understand why.
So I think we might get to a third iteration of Magic Band Plus that might include a vibration setting or whatever, so they can hold your place in line.
I think if Blizzard Beach was to add a new slide, it would take place of the older looking runoff rapids on the backside of the mountain. I don't know if you've ever been to Blizzard Beach.
It's probably been about 16 years.
It's the one side of the water park that really looks shitty, because you've got the front side that has Summit Plummet, Slusher Gusher, the Teamboat Springs family raft ride, and then you've got this backside that just has a couple of generic looking water slides.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember.
And those to me really have to go, because not only are they boring slides, they're also boring colors, and you have boring colors and boring slides, then nobody wants to do them. And so,
oh yeah, I'm looking at a map right now, and yeah.
So then it just becomes the nerdy band kids that marathon those over and over again. So that's what I got going on my water park list.
Yeah, I don't really think much of water parks. That's not where the money is to be made there.
No, it's also, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, during the summer they're really busy, but we do have that off season where a water park is kind of replaced. Or water parks are kind of don't have their place. Like, it's cold. Like, Disney tiers their water parks. One's open, one's not open.
I mean, it's smart that they can do that.
Uh-huh.
It's nice that they can do this. They always have one open. But
yeah, I'm curious what Volcano Bay is going to do. Like, are they going to have dark days, or just going to ride it out?
I don't know. Hopefully they don't have to tear it down and rebuild the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to move on to Disney Springs?
Yeah, let's move on to Disney Springs.
I think there's a little bit more life that's going to be happening at Disney Springs. I have a grand total of 3 bullet points. And I was most people here don't know this, but I actually worked at Disney Springs for a short period.
I did too. I worked at Disney Springs for a short period. Much shorter of a period.
Much shorter period. So, I actually had a job at the Lego store. This is actually like recent, like within, this taxes that I'm filing is going to include the Lego store.
I just thought about that. I wonder if I have to file the Lego store on my taxes.
Well, you got paid for a day, didn't you?
I never picked up the paycheck.
Well, they'll email you. Oh, well, not email. They'll mail you something.
All right.
Or yeah, I think they should mail you something. So, I actually was there when it was just Downtown Disney, and while they were working on construction, and then it opened up as Disney Springs, and then it, the whole new area actually opened. So I got to experience all of that, and a lot of potential, but a lot of disappointment too. First of all, my big thing is I think the West End's going to get a major overhaul. If for those that aren't familiar with that, it's the end with Cirque du Soleil, Disney Springs, Splitsville, House of Blues, all those over there. I think it's going to get a major overhaul. Cirque's going to get removed.
I too have Cirque getting removed.
And a new nightly show takes place that is mind-blowingly good.
I too have a new nighttime show, but I don't necessarily know if it's mind-blowing good. This was kind of in my wild card category, but I guess we'll share it now since we're talking about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Barnum and Bailey's Circus.
Even though they just announced that they are done?
Yes, they are done forever traveling.
Because they're setting up shop?
Because they are coming to Orlando, where Circus World used to be and where their headquarters are. It's coming to Orlando.
It makes sense that they announced that they're closing while they're on tour here in Orlando. Because they were just at the Amway.
Yes.
And, that could be mind-blowingly good.
Uh-huh.
The only thing I think Disney would have to worry about the backlash of, like, all your PETA heads, all that kind of stuff. But I think they could ramp up a new type of show and maybe not have the animals as much, but like a much smaller part of it.
I mean, I sort of see that a Cirque du Soleil is kind of an adult circus.
It is, yeah.
I mean, kids can go, but I was never really amused as a kid when I saw the Cirque du Soleil shows. And so I think in a market now where there is no doubt in my mind Disney Springs is not meant for adults like it once was.
No, there's no Pleasure Island anymore, so it's not at all.
I think your family kid friendly show with like clowns and acrobats and fun music, not like classical like orchestra pieces. I think is more likely the answer. So I'm thinking you take the name of the Barnum and Bailey Circus, and I think you got something.
I actually really like that idea. So that could be a mind-blowingly good show. So what's your first bullet point on the Disney Springs?
I think most of those outlet shops within the next 2 years are going to close and go out of business.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't actually think of that, but
there's just so many stores that you walk by, and I mean everything is busy in Disney because everything is busy in Disney.
The thing with Disney Springs that I guess people don't really take into consideration is Disney Springs is Disney's quote-unquote free park. You don't have to pay to get in. You don't have to pay to park. You can go there. You can still get that Disney magic But if you want to buy something, which is what Disney wants you to do there, you have to be willing to
pay out the
dish
ass.
out some cash.
Yeah, everything is more expensive.
A lot of expensive things there. Way expensive.
And not only that, there's things that aren't expensive that are more expensive than they should be.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, plenty of... The restaurants are all pretty good, and they're all pretty packed. Deluxe Burger, Blaze Pizza. The poutine stand, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
So a lot of the new restaurants are really good. Sprinkles, Cupcakes, always busy.
Always.
So all of that, really good stuff. Just the stores, I walk in there and I'm like, nobody's buying this shit.
I think the only one that's actually there that makes sense to me that I've actually seen people buying a lot of stuff is the Uniqlo.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something you can't get anywhere else. Under Armour, you can go across the highway and go to the outlets over there. Any of those jewelry places, besides Pandora, you're going to be able to get across the highway as well. And it's also going to be cheaper over there.
Yeah, so I think some of the stores are going to move out. And I mean, they already have. Like, there's now this store, D-Living, which is kind of like luxury decorations that are Disney themed. The store's kind of unique, except for a lot of the Christmas stuff is generic and you can see anywhere else in the resort. But I'm kind of hoping for some more Disney unique stores that they have there, because they obviously don't want you to walk past hundreds of empty buildings.
Yeah, definitely.
And so they're going to fill them with Disney stores.
Or they could just do what Festival Bay Mall did when they just put up those big like canvas pictures in the windows of all the stores that made it look like there was a store in there.
Yeah, that too.
So I think that they're going to up their food truck game. And they're going to have more food trucks, lower food costs, and there's going to be the Disneyland ones, like the ones that are themed to each of the parks, and there's also going to be third-party food trucks. I think this is going to kind of take place back in that weird pathway between Cirque du Soleil and that back parking lot. Mm-hmm. It'll be like, people like food trucks, and food trucks are going to bring people in. If you advertise, if people are advertising, hey, blah blah blah's food truck is going to be at Disney Springs, people travel for food trucks. I mean, they have a following.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of food trucks personally. I might sound like an asshole here, but I feel like they're overpriced and normally good, but I just feel like half the time I get ripped off. I also tend to feel ripped off anytime a company like gives you bottled or canned sodas for your beverage, because like food trucks can't obviously have fountain drinks, and I find the bottled beverages are just overpriced for what you get.
Yeah, and that's why it has to be a lower food cost, and it has to I guess kind of compete on the same level as some of the food offerings that are in Disney Springs as a whole.
Yeah,
like the smokehouse. Mm-hmm. You can't have the smokehouse be cheaper than going to Bill's barbecue truck and getting the same thing there.
Mm-hmm.
So, what else you got?
What else I got on here? I think your restaurants, on the sense of, because coming up soon we got Paddlefish and Planet Hollywood. Paddlefish is the Fulton's Crab Shack being redone because it wasn't popular, and
I never saw people there.
And Planet Hollywood being redone because it was ugly, and I guess it wasn't very popular. And I don't know. I don't think either one is gonna keep doing well.
I don't think so. I don't think slapping a new coat of paint on them is going to sell it. I think the one thing that's coming to Disney Springs that's actually going to be kind of cool is going to be Edison.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going towards our crowd. That's not the crowd a family's going to want to go to.
No, I agree. And I don't think any of the damn restaurants in Disney Springs are really going to that. And look at the ones that have the longest wait. People stand outside for hours for T-Rex and stand outside for hours for Rainforest Cafe. And Boathouse does really well, but I don't think Boathouse would do as well if it didn't have the fancy cars that go on the water right next door that people were blowing their minds over.
Mm-hmm.
But like take STK. It's fucking flopping.
It's too expensive.
I mean, I don't think the price is the problem.
I've heard
to me,
it's really good, but
it's something that I totally have dire interest in going to, but I hate shouting over my meal. And it's the same problem I have with Rocco's Tacos in Dr. Phillips, is that the food is good, but it's so loud that I just don't enjoy my environment there. It's nightclub meets it's nightclub meets filet mignon.
I fall in the same category, and the girlfriend makes fun of me constantly about this, about places being too loud.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you walk by STK and you know it's there because you can hear it.
Yeah, like if you saw my video or our video from In the Loop of Canada's Wonderland or Galaxyland in Canada, my one main takeaway was that it was too loud. The music was too loud in there. I found it annoying. I went to
Go ahead.
I like to be able to converse over the music. I like BGM. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love ambient background music, but if I have to shout over it, I'm not enjoying it.
True. You're there to hang out with people.
Mm-hmm.
You're not there to listen to music. If you're going to a concert, absolutely make it as loud as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know of any people that are going to STK for a concert.
Can you imagine concert and filet mignon? Like,
well, they kind of have that already for Eve at Universal.
Yeah,
I have to do that someday.
Mm-hmm.
One of these years, I'll dish out the money and do the just stuff my face with filet mignon and shrimp and lobster and stuff.
So, I definitely think we're going to see more parking garages show up at Disney Springs.
Yeah, I think so. They help a lot, but they're also a complete mess. The funny thing I always find about the parking garages is that you will drive up on, you're like, okay, driving the parking garage. You'll see levels 1, 2, and 3. Like 1 and 2 will be full. 3 will have like 15 spots, and then 4 and 5 will have like 300 plus spots. And everybody gets off on row 3 to find one of those spots. I've never understood that. You don't walk that much further.
No, I know, but it's what happens. It's also really weird because you get off the highway and levels 1 and 2, like, you can't get to.
If you're going to that garage, yeah.
The Lime garage has the better position, but it's also smaller.
It's a smaller garage. When I worked at the Lego store, when we were not allowed to park in the garages, I parked in the Lime garage because I was not going to walk across the street and all the way over just to get there. That was like a 25-minute hike. I just parked directly behind the store.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have any idea.
No, we wore khakis and a polo.
And I mean, like, even if they had like undercover security following you, all you'd have to do is pop into Starbucks or sit your ass down on a bench and make a phone call, and you would know they would have no longer have any justification to like follow you.
Exactly. So I've got one more bullet point for Disney Springs. I guess this is kind of like Disney Springs Wild Card-esque, kind of like yours. I said Disney Quest is going to get an overhaul as part of the West End refurb, become a modern tech warehouse with amazing experiences. And I also think they're going to continue to update and innovate it. And they're going to go back to opening up a satellite location somewhere in the U.S., and it's going to succeed.
Well, that's a wild card and a half. I don't know what I would think of that place.
Because what they were originally, that was supposed to be their indoor theme park. Even Six Flags tried that for a little bit too.
Well, Six Flags also tried having a barber shop.
Yeah, Disney does have a barber shop.
It's true, and they have the art of shaving at Disney Springs.
I know. I need to go in there and get an official like fancy shave. Something I've wanted to do.
It's also weird that this is our first podcast since you've had hair.
Oh, I know. It's growing back. For those that don't know, I have been bald for the past 4 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, someone that I work with was like, I haven't. He's like, why are you growing your hair out? I haven't seen you with hair. I was like, nobody in Florida has seen me with hair. Mm-hmm. But you have anything else for Disney Springs?
Nope. That is what I got.
Okay, so now let's get into the actual parks.
All right. Which one?
What park do you feel like starting with?
Which one? First of all, which one does your list have on top?
My list on top is going to be Magic Kingdom.
Okay. That's my bottom.
My list goes Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom. I went from, I guess, the year they opened. It's just my natural order of the parks.
I say we start with Epcot, and then we'll figure out from there.
Okay. So, there's no real order within these. None of these are bigger tier than other ones. They're just thoughts that I had, and I just put them after whatever the last thought was. So first of all, Energy and Life Pavilions removed. Large new e-ticket in place. And I said it's going to be the newest, most unbelievable concept ever, but executed poorly, consistently down. The theme obviously half-assed to the point of being laughable.
Yeah. I still think Energy has a lot of life left.
I think so too. I think Energy has a great potential, but I don't think Disney thinks Energy has a great potential. I mean, looking at the map, that's a massive plot of land that you could do there. I mean, you could even just take down, the Wonders of Life Pavilion and have something incredible there. But I think they might do both because, 20 years ago, Ellen is still funny, but people are expecting today's Ellen.
I agree. It is interesting, though. I think we're going to come into the time at Epcot where Epcot has more IPs than it's ever had before. I think The Seas with Nemo and Friends was kind of the first start with that. And then we've slowly snowballed down with Grand Fiesta Tour, and now Maelstrom turning into the Frozen ride, and I think we're literally going to snowball from that.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
I also think Disney is in the process of spending while saving money, and it's something along the lines of, it's the Star Wars land that's really making me think this, with how the 2 Star Wars lands are opening coast to coast, and I think they're going to take attractions that they have at other parks and really start bringing them in. And I think one of the first ones you're going to see from there is Ratatouille's coming to France.
I have that as well. I have Ratatouille added to France.
And I know the legend, I disagree on this one, but I think the Ratatouille restaurant is just as cool and should also come to France.
I think that it needs to be added as well.
However, France already has 2 really popular restaurants that also do really well. So do you think we see a third sit-down restaurant come to France?
Yeah, because the restaurants in France are on your higher, nicer end, right?
Yes.
But they're not kid-friendly,
no,
correct?
Not really.
So you have plenty of room for a kid-friendly Ratatouille-themed restaurant in France. I don't think Disney, for the most part, looks at what do we need. They look at, are people going to do it? And people are going to do it. So, I mean, look, how many restaurants does Italy have?
3?
It's like, yeah, and people still go crazy over those restaurants. I mean, I hear it's Napoli has the best pizza in town.
I mean, I'm not a pizza guy.
I know you're not a pizza person with your recent addition of ordering pizza for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah.
Anything else with Ratatouille?
I just think it's coming. I wouldn't be surprised if it's an identical clone.
It doesn't need to be anything different or anything wondrous. You know what? Because not many people are going to make their way out to go ride Ratatouille in Paris anyway.
But I just think more things need to come to World Showcase because they've gotten this big problem where everybody comes to World Showcase and skips Future World, but nobody leaves the main promenade of World Showcase. And so that pathway just gets super crowded. And it's proven that they need to do that because all the bars got pushed out into the main promenade. So you've seen like Mexico is opening the new tequila bar that's on the promenade, and Norway's got its carts, and they're keeping
and Morocco's got their little thing.
Yeah. So they keep the food and wine booths open even more year round now because they're successful, and it keeps people on the promenade. And I think they need to figure out a way to push more people into the pavilions. And I think a great way. I think a great way to do this is. Do you remember what Dynamic Attractions was showing? That like new 360 theater.
That thing with like the walls that went around and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we see that at one of our countries here in this area.
I could see that. I could see that going into any of them, really.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, like, Reflections of China and Oh Canada are both Circle Vision movies that are in that area. I mean, I believe France has a movie too, but we don't need to touch the France movie because we're adding Ratatouille. So I think one of the two of them is definitely going to get their Circle Vision theater changed into a more up-to-date version of that with the dynamic theater that drops, tilts, turns, changes scenes and stuff like that.
I can see that. I like that.
So that I think is a definite attraction. Now, here's the weird thing though, like I don't know if this one will get an IP base, which seems the opposite of everything Disney has been spending money on. Because like Canada, the only real movie that took place in Canada was Brother Bear.
That does not have lasting power.
No, but here's the other thing: is I could totally see Disney do like the Canadian Donald Duck.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
with like the Canadian toboggan hat and stuff like that. So I could see that going, and I could see them kind of making like a short that goes along with it. Or you never know, a couple of years from now there might be a Disney plot.
The way they're pumping out movies these days, I mean, there easily could be.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of adding rides to World Showcase, I think we're going to see a dark ride added to Germany.
There's room for
it. The style is not going to be unlike a Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. So it'll kind of bring back like the nostalgia of Mr. Toad's, but then also be fresh and new. And they've got that big plot of land right there from where they never got the other pavilion.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, but they also like this building was designed to have a little boat ride in it that just never happened.
Mm-hmm. So I think that would be a good way to throw in something different than a boat ride.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And that's kind of the last thing I have for World Showcase, except for my kind of favorite point that I'm going to save till the end of Epcot.
I think you're going to see the art festival become daily and continue on and be successful. I think this was kind of the proving ground here this week, and I think it did well enough that it'll probably continue.
Yeah.
Continuing on with that, I can also see everyone talking about how they think the Mission Space e-ticket's coming. I think the Mission Space e-ticket is already sitting, or not, the Guardians e-ticket I think is already sitting there and is going to take over Mission Space rather than taking over Universe of Energy.
That makes complete sense to me because, I mean, the video and everything hasn't changed since they put that ride in, and it's so outdated. The graphics are showing their age, and I don't even want to ride the ride anymore. Like, I don't enjoy riding it.
I haven't done it in years. It's to show you a list of things. It's the one ride where people are like, do you want to do it? And I usually just say no, and I haven't done it I've done it twice since I moved to Florida in 2010.
Yep, I've done it. We've done it, I think 3 times. We've done the wild, we've done the mild, and then I think we had a friend come in and we did mild again, and that was about it. Like, there's no need for us to do Mission Space anymore. Mm-hmm. I think the thing that really turned me off the last time that we got on there was we waited in line. It was just outside a little bit. So we're like, okay, no big deal. So we waited in line. We went. It shot through. It did the whole turnstile switchbacks on the inside, and we were next to in line for, I think, the merge point for FastPass. And I think it was a new person, and he was doing 100% ratio of FastPass, and so he was just letting them all through. And we had to wait for like another like 20-25 minutes until there was a break in the line, and then he started letting us in. So it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it sucks.
So over on the other side of Future World, I think we're gonna get a new Figment.
You know, everyone says Figment's pretty shitty.
The ride itself now, yes, but the popularity of that character is not. So I think we're going to get a new Figment, and I'm actually saying it's going to have the longest lines in Epcot.
Oh, interesting.
What was the name of that guy? Was the Dream Master?
Dreamfinder.
Dreamfinder?
Yes.
He's making a return.
Oh, definitely. If new Figment comes back, he's making a return. I think it's really interesting if you look at like Google Images, how you head down that like Soarin' hallway, and how Soarin' is like really closer to the Imagination Pavilion than it is to the Land Pavilion.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting.
I also think that Spaceship Earth is going to get another refurb.
Are we keeping the Omnimover style ride?
No. Ride itself doesn't change.
Uh-huh.
This is just one of these refurbs that, you know, they've done over the years. So I'm saying new scenes, up top, and a new descent. And then I'm saying a new narrator. And I'm actually saying it's going to be Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I don't even know who that is.
That is the Cosmos guy with Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's that guy that was... He did that Cosmos show on Fox.
Okay.
He's a big science guy. And the audio is actually going to be audible, because my biggest problem with those buggies, those cars, is that I don't know if I'm just too tall.
You're too tall.
But I am. But I have to crouch down in order to even hear Dame Judi Dench.
If it were me, I think we're going to see Neil Patrick Harris be the narrator. I think Disney's really on his nuts right now.
I could see it. I think we're going to go with the other Neil, though. Maybe we'll have a tag team Neil.
A Neil off.
Maybe. But I think that, and that of course is going to come with a new whatever that spot is in the end when you exit, and there's all this stuff that never works.
Yep.
I think that's going to get redone. Do you have anything else?
I do not. So, the thing is, I would love to say something new is coming to Innoventions, but it's such a small area.
It really is not that big.
That there's not a whole lot you could do with there unless you did more of the character meet and greets inside of that.
Yeah. Interventions, it was a cool concept, but then I think with the invention of like the internet and everything, a place isn't needed to kind of showcase these new things. But I do have one more bullet point. It's my favorite one.
All right.
So Odyssey reopens full time as a Disney brew pub.
Ooh.
They're going to offer house-made beers and small plates, but then my favorite thing is that they are going to offer pavilion specialties. So it's a different pavilion each month. America's going to get June and July, because 4th of July. But the specialties are going to include, themed localized small plates and a beer style brewed on site.
I like it.
So you could go in January or whatever and say, okay, this is Canada. And so you go in there and there'll be like a small Canada plate or whatever you can get. Different than what they sell for the festivals. And then there's going to be maybe a Canadian style beer, maybe a collaboration with like Unibrew or, something like that. That's my favorite one about Epcot.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So I think that's it for Epcot.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think this is the park that to me has the most potential coming forward.
Yeah.
I think that it's the park that, while I think it's fine, I don't think it's great, and I think it could use more help.
But it's still the park that I tend to visit the most.
I know, but what's crazy about Epcot is Epcot's best year was 1994. It hasn't beaten its 94 attendance. Meanwhile, all our other parks are like zooming in attendance.
Just zooming.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think it's about time to move on to another park. So, what park do you wanna visit now?
I think we should save Magic Kingdom for last, unless you're really into what you have for Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom, to be honest, is probably my least exciting bullet points.
Me too. So let's just go Magic Kingdom now.
Yeah, let's just do Magic Kingdom. So, the thing I mentioned this one on Twitter, but it was, I think the cabanas are going to be moved. I don't think where they are makes sense. So I think they're going to end up moving inside of the castle. As I know there's that suite inside the castle that you never really hear about people staying in anymore. You never hear a contest to stay in there.
Mm-hmm.
So why not utilize that space, put in a couple cabanas, highly theme the shit out of those things, and then have each one of them have a special interactive moment that the other ones do not have. So if you want to experience all of the moments, you have to stay in each one of them. And there is a price hike, a major price hike.
I totally see it.
Because as much as I would love to spend my quiet time while at the Magic Kingdom outside of the smoking area in Tomorrowland on the far exterior of the park, why not have it in the smack middle of the park to where when you get out, you can decide exactly which direction you want to go?
I think the only other place I would put the cabanas would be the rooftops of Main Street, so you have firework and parade viewing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'd have to worry about fall protection, and you've got all this. And then that would also, I don't think the roofs are pretty at all. I think they're very ugly.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Or what about like the top level of Main Street? Like how some of those were offices, like boot the managers to offsite trailers and
do that
and make it up there. So you can peek out those windows.
Oh, I could definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think cabanas are going to be, I think it's going to be a successful experiment. And we're probably going to see it at all the parks. But I think the most popular one is going to be the Cinderella Castle cabanas.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I like it. Going on with what I was saying, where Disney's kind of taking attractions and wanting to move them to other places, so they kind of reuse the things that they've created. I think they'll package deal those dynamic theaters, and I think that is what is going to be where Shrek is now.
Shrek?
Not Shrek, Stitch. Different shitty attraction.
How much room is in that building? I know you and Legend discussed it slightly, but I don't think there's that much room, because you've got the People Mover you got to worry about. There is that little shop down there, like in the ice cream place, but I don't think. And then the whole other half of that building is Cosmic Rays of Sunshine, but I don't know how much room you'd have for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest problem. I think they'd be. I could definitely see one of those going in, and that actually probably goes with one of my ideas. And you could. There's that whole parking lot behind Buzz that could be used. Because I might as well just go right into that point for me. I said there's a new Tomorrowland e-ticket. I had said Tron ride, not bike coaster, but themed to a new Tron movie, in the parking lot behind Buzz. You could use the meet and greet right there for an entrance, which could make sense to have one of those circle theaters.
Mm-hmm. I do think the Tron ride could come. I think if we're going to get Tron, it's going to be an identical clone.
The thing, I don't know, do they have the room for a clone?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, they probably could shoehorn it in there. It's Disney. They've shoehorned plenty of things.
I mean, just the way I look at it is look at how they shoehorned Indiana Jones into Disneyland.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to talk about Indiana Jones later in this episode, too.
I know, right? Indiana Jones is on your list somewhere?
And I'm guaranteed they're going to be very different things.
All right.
That's just a preview for all the listeners.
Watch them be the same.
I like the Circle Theater. I could see them getting 2 here in Florida, maybe 1 out in California. You know, just that. And then Dynamic Attractions, their name is never thrown about and nobody ever knows that they made it. Except for the real kind of nerds.
Yeah. I mean,
the typical.
If you don't know who Dynamic Attractions is, they built Radiator Springs Racers. They built Forbidden Journey. So they've done a lot of the roller coaster, or a lot of the big thrill rides that nobody wants to tackle that project. Dynamic has done it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of your Stitch thing, I forgot that I had this on here. I said that Stitch was going to be kept seasonal with no end in sight.
It's funny because it actually got a line when it opened back up seasonally.
I think that is what they're doing. They're artificially adding demand for it.
Mm-hmm. The attraction's garbage.
Every one of my things is basically Tomorrowland because I think the rest of the park is fine.
I agree. Tomorrowland is the land that really needs help. I think I said that there will be, to me, I kind of wrote virtually little change until after the 50th, with the only real change to Magic Kingdom for the 50th is you might get a parade and we'll definitely get new fireworks.
I have a discussion about the 50th.
Uh-huh.
It's a wild card. I said the Speedway, get rid of it. It's torn down. It doesn't fit in Tomorrowland to begin with. I don't know why there's just a ride that people drive cars. So that is handed over to Fantasyland and is turned into a Frozen Land. But it's either going to be a new Frozen popularity boom, or there's going to be a new IP that's going to be all the craze, and Disney switches at the last minute and does a half-ass job.
I can totally see that.
Very similar to what New Fantasyland happened, where they had all these grand ideas, and then like last minute they changed a bunch of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, New Fantasyland is fine. It's just,
but there was supposed to be that whole Tinkerbell section.
Mm-hmm.
And that all just got shoved out the window.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I really like Mine Train, but it's...
Yeah, that's about it.
It's just Mine Train. Like, I think...
It is. I hate the solid bright light when you ride at dark.
Uh-huh. It's just really weird that this year with Sex Tales Land at Animal Kingdom is the first time we've really gotten an e-ticket in a long time in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, Soarin' is an e-ticket, but I didn't really classify it as one because it's the exact copy of California. So I really feel like the last e-ticket we kind of got was, I don't know, Expedition Everest?
Yeah. And I actually don't even talk about Everest.
Me neither, but it's great. It's a good ride.
I do have one more Magic Kingdom bullet point, though. Because I have 5 for each park.
Oh, look at you.
I told you I've been making this list for a while.
Yes.
So my 5th and final point for Magic Kingdom is that they're going to add another pirates/sorcerers type game, and it's going to be added to Tomorrowland and possibly Tron themed.
Huh.
I don't really know what they would do. I think there's potential for another type of game over there because Sorcerers doesn't go into Tomorrowland.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that whole area is open for it.
It does make sense. I am enjoying looking at the overview of this map of Disneyland or Disney World, the Magic Kingdom, because it has the old hub, and I'm just like, wow, the new hub really is so much bigger.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've noticed too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think that's Magic Kingdom.
Yep, that is Magic Kingdom.
That's the park everyone wants to go to, but nobody really wants to go to it because that's Disney.
Yes,
that park. When I worked for the Walt Disney World Company, everyone would always ask, "Where is Disney?" I'm like, "You're there. You've made it to Disney." They go, "Well, where is Disney?" I'm like, "You're there. You've made it.
Welcome."
Welcome to Disney. You can't get any more Disney than this. So, all right. So now let's go to one of the other parks. Do we want one? These are the ones that have the most construction going on now.
Now, and I think in the future.
I think these ones are going to be your biggest changes to a park.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think Animal Kingdom is going to go through more of a change than Studios.
All right, then let's go Studios first.
Let's go Studios first. Okay, so this one, here's my first prediction. I said Star Wars is going to open to great numbers. I think land's going to meet capacity daily for a year and a half, with long lines just to enter every day, all day. Then I say some call it a disaster. It's going to have parity to Disneyland. So Disneyland's going to have the same problem they're having out here. And then Disney's going to try to do small Star Wars magical moments across the park to, I guess, kind of please guests with, like stormtroopers, Chewbacca walking around, here comes R2-D2 kind of thing going around the park, just for the guests that cannot get in the land. And then surveys, there's going to be a survey. This is my kind of wild card semicolon to this whole thing. There's going to be a survey that asks guests if they'd be interested in a Life Day celebration. For those that don't know what Life Day is the made-up holiday that the Star Wars Christmas special was about. That movie that George Lucas quickly swept under the rug and refuses to even acknowledge exists.
Well, that's interesting.
So that's my Star Wars, I guess, prediction.
I think you are right. It's definitely going to hit capacity. It's definitely going to overflow here. This is very related to Star Wars Land, but very unrelated to this podcast. Do you think Disneyland Star Wars Land is going to have booze? Because clearly ours is going to. And if you're going to have specialty cocktails in one but not the other, that's kind of strange.
They don't sell alcohol at all in Disneyland, do they?
Club 33.
Club 33 only.
Yes. However, the whole argument about Disney adding alcohol to Be Our Guest was that it's not in Walt's park because it was exterior to the original Magic Kingdom. That was the original opening thing.
But now they're just throwing it everywhere, though,
yes.
So it doesn't matter.
But Star Wars Land is going to be outside of the original Disneyland.
Following Disney's trends of not giving a fuck, they will sell booze.
That's what I figured.
They will sell the exact same booze and everything. Another, I guess, question about Star Wars and Disneyland, Disney World. Are they going to be the exact same layout, or there's going to be differences?
I imagine small differences, but same e-tickets.
For the most part, the same. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. What you got for Hollywood Studios?
I think Star Tours is closing.
Do you think it's closing?
I think it's going to close after Star Wars Land opens.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't think I think you might still keep your simulators. You might keep the same thing, but I think it's going to get a different IP because I don't see it being in the land. And if you have this big land, why are you having another Star Wars attraction outside of Star Wars Land?
But Star Tours in Disneyland is not going to be in that land either.
And I don't think that's going to be around much longer either. I think the Disneyland one is the easy answer. It's going Stark Tours, the Iron Man attraction.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to do in California or in Florida because it doesn't make sense.
Where exactly is the Star Wars land supposed to start?
It's basically, I mean, it starts very close to it, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be in Star Wars land. So your Star Wars land is like Streets of America, and the backlot area, all of that Star Wars land.
But then Muppets is going to stay there, right?
Yes.
So that's weird, like Muppets growth on the side. Okay. Maybe they kind of, accent the fact that Star Tours is that travel thing, and that's a way to travel to and from kind of thing. I don't know. I'm just reaching here, but I guess I never even thought the fact that it's not going to be inside the land.
I think it's going.
It could. I think that Toy Story Land is nearly empty every day. But the Slinky Coaster is a load of fun.
I'm sure the Slinky Coaster will have a long ass mine train style line.
I think
but ass will probably be a walk on.
So I wonder if them building Star Wars Land is going to up the capacity of the park, which has the smallest capacity, I believe.
I couldn't tell you capacities. I looking at it, I would assume it has the smallest capacity.
Because I don't think they're going to be adding, because all the land that they're basically taking out was guest accessible land anyway. So I don't really see them saying like, oh, well, we just upped our capacity by 20,000 people. I think it's relatively going to stay the same. So I think the park's going to have trouble hitting, they're going to be at or near capacity every day. Especially with Star Wars Land itself hitting capacity and having to do, Harry Potter style wait outside kind of thing. They're not going to have a comeback at this time to get in system. So Toy Story is going to get completely just ignored. That's my thing, is everybody's going to be going over to Star Wars and completely ignoring the new Toy Story Land.
Well, to be fair, the new Toy Story Land consists of Slinky Coaster, which will probably be a small Vekoma coaster, and then Alien Super Spinner, like something along the lines of Mater's Jamboree Junction or whatever. So it's an interesting addition. I think it'll be cute, but I don't think it's going to be the wow moment. But it opens first, I believe.
I think so. If it doesn't open first, I don't understand how, because it's nothing. It's just big toys and two little rides.
Yeah. Going along with opening, I think once you see all the major expansion here, I think it's time for Great Movie Ride to become something different.
Okay.
I have no theme in mind here. I was reading the lines of it being like Mickey through the years, and I don't see that happening. So I couldn't tell you what it'll be, but I definitely think Great Movie Ride isn't long for this world either.
Yeah, I think it's on its way out. I think the TMC kind of thing was kind of just give it that last boost to get it through to a point to where they can remove it. Speaking of rides changing, I think Aerosmith's getting removed from the Rock and Roller Coaster. Ride's going to stay, but they're going to remove Aerosmith and replace with a new animated movie property, which is music-based.
I could see that. I also think with that, you'll probably see new trains with the softer vests rather than the hard thunker harnesses.
That, or they will get a lap bar only restraint.
I think whatever they get, they're going to get a restraint that accommodates more people, because it's insane that that's a 48-inch height requirement. It's the highest height requirement on property, that in Primeval Whirl. Yeah. And I imagine they take a lot of hits. Like, but he rode Space Mountain, but he rode this. Why can't he ride that? He just rode Tower of Terror. Are you telling me that Tower of Terror is way less intense than this ride?
Yeah, I could see them opening up to being a little more accommodating to everybody.
I mean, every inch helps. So you go 46 or 44, that's a huge difference.
It is.
That's like, yeah. There's
reports of them testing out a new audio track for the ride, where it was a Goofy movie.
It was Powerline.
Powerline, yeah.
But
so
Goofy movie.
That was the name. Yeah, but so I mean, I think this is on their plate. I don't think it's in any rush, but I could also see something happening and Disney reacting severely and then just pulling Aerosmith out of it.
Yeah, I think
same way with the Shocker.
I think he is out of control sometimes.
He is.
Steven Tyler. I mean, his response to Disney was him wearing a hat that said "fuck?" ?
Yeah, he doesn't really care.
No.
So, I think he might do something so outrageous that they kind of freak out and just pull Aerosmith from the ride. So that's why I think they're already kind of testing things.
Yeah, I could see that going. It's really crazy. I think this park is a lot of it's changing.
It is. I mean, granted, the whole name of the park is changing for a third time.
Mm-hmm.
They've announced that. They haven't announced what it is, but they've said that the park name is changing.
I'm curious. Now, little cosmetic things that I would like to see at this park. If you're going to keep with the nighttime shows that are in front of the Chinese theater, I would like you to create more viewing and cut all the tall trees down, get rid of your shops that are out there, and give it a nice like hub feel.
Mm-hmm. Like those little carts are not needed right there.
No.
Yeah.
There's too many carts. There's like fences and palm trees and just a lot of things in the way of viewing that I wish wasn't there.
Yeah. I can see that. Those are just like little like guest pleasing things. Do you have anything big for?
No, my big thing was that Star Wars. I think Star Tours is closing, or will be rethemed to something else.
All right. Well, I got two more things.
All right.
I'm talking about Indiana Jones now.
Yeah.
I think Indiana Jones 5 is going to be a huge success. And then the stunt show is going to get redesigned to have scenes from all of the movies instead of just B-Raiders. So it's going to give them a chance to refurb the stunt show and everything like that. It's going to also include the controversial swinging with monkeys scene from 4. And people are going to laugh and hate that at the same time. Also, I think the Indiana Jones area is going to expand slightly to include a themed eatery and bar similar in style to Jock Lindsay's.
And then with that, you could then take Star Tours right there and add Star Tours to the Indiana Jones themed section.
You very much could. Because they actually even have that restaurant in between them that's not themed really to anything. It's just, here's a bunch of like prop stuff. And then my last thing is something that I don't think Disney never announced it, but it was heavily hinted at. And then they're actually going to put in the Tower of Terror themed bar. I think the drink prices are going to be incredibly crazy expensive, way higher than Trader Sam's, but it's a must experience thing. So with lightning and all of those just insane things happening in the atmosphere, I think it's like a must do thing.
Sounds good to me. I would like to see a Fantasmic refurbishment also, to go along with the 50th when the resort reopens. I think or the resort opening the 50th anniversary. I think Phantasmic getting slightly new plot and some new effects would be much needed.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think Phantasmic kind of gets ignored, and I think people kind of forget that it's actually even there. Like whenever I think of Hollywood studios, I never think of that. And like even looking at the map, I always stop up at Tower of Terror and never even extend way up there to see Phantasmic. So yeah. You think it's safe to move on to the newest park?
Yes.
The newest park that celebrated, what, 20 years?
15.
15, yeah.
Hey, I mean, to be fair, I don't think any of their parks are full enough to warrant that really needed the fourth park. So,
no, they did not need one. It was just they wanted animals for the longest time, and so they forced themselves to have an animal park. So, do you want to start off with Animal Kingdom?
Yes. So, it's kind of funny because I made that comment earlier that I think the zoo, I think Barnum and Bailey is coming, but we talked about how Barnum and Bailey, I don't think it'll have the animals that it had before. I think we're coming into this weird time in America where everyone's offended by everything, and I think part of that is going to be that we aren't going to do as many things with animals as much as we are going to do things with fictional animals. So the animals are still going to be here, but I think the main part of all of the expansions for a little while are going to be things like your Pandora World of Avatar, where you're focusing on like animal lands but like animals aren't the focus. And what I mean by that is I think your big addition that I see coming to this park is the Wildlife Express train to Rafiki's Planet Watch is going to be totally different. And it is no longer going to be the Wildlife Express trains to Rafiki's Planet Watch. It's going to be the train to Zootopia, and you're going to have Zootopia Land.
Oh. I think that actually goes right on with my fifth bullet point. My fifth bullet point says Rafiki Conservation Attraction is shut down and redone with the train being replaced with a quote-unquote Hogwarts Express-style transportation method to a highly themed land and massive e-ticket attraction.
Zootopia.
I, unlike the legend, like Zootopia a lot.
Everybody likes Zootopia. I have no idea why the legend didn't like it, and just because it wouldn't look good on a goddamn t-shirt doesn't mean the movie wasn't popular. It made $1 billion.
You never see people with t-shirts.
$1 billion.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I mean, versus let's backtrack here a little bit on this point. You see tons of people with Thing 1, Thing 2 shirts, and then the Cat in the Hat movie was terrible.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, I think, and there is a big plot of land there, too. And then you don't have to worry about, because the train goes backstage. Mm-hmm. You need to replace the train. The train is a piece of garbage. So you replace it with a Hogwarts style, or that monorail that, that's in the movie, and you're seeing all the different, the different, like, I guess, biospheres of Zootopia.
Yep.
I could see it a lot.
So that to me was definitely a must. As soon as I saw that scene in the movie, I was like, this needs to come to Animal Kingdom. It's the one like sure attraction that I looked at and I was like, this definitely needs to be a thing. There aren't many times where I look at something in a movie and I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder if you could make that. That can be a theme park attraction.
I wasn't even thinking of Zootopia either. I was just thinking of this massive plot of land over here, and I've been on Rafiki's conservation train once and got off on the other end. I was like, what the hell is this? I got back in and went back. Mm-hmm. And that was it.
Yeah.
So their newest item that they're putting in is it's going to be Avatar, World of Pandora. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be breathtaking. but no one's going to understand nor care about the IP.
Yeah.
And the rides are going to have a very confusing storyline.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be very preachy, but people aren't going to understand it.
Yeah, it's fair.
But everything's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Rivers of Light, I can't even say it without laughing, is finally going to work. It's going to be the best night show on property after its third redesign.
I don't think it's ever going to be a good nighttime show, and I think they're just going to run it because they made it. And I think we're going back to the 50th anniversary for the park. I think we're having all new nighttime experiences, new parade at Magic Kingdom, new fireworks, new Phantasmic, and new World of Color East. And they're just going to take their World of Color concept and put it in there.
Drain the lake over here, cement it in, kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that could definitely happen. This one kind of went with my Rafiki train. I was thinking that hints would emerge about a Beastly Kingdom land being added with an incredible roller coaster dark ride hybrid. And I was looking at that plot of land, but I think I like the Zootopia idea better. But I think Beastly Kingdom itself will still kind of be on that back burner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that'll ever go away.
No.
Until it's built.
And I really think you could take Beastly Kingdom, if you wanted a place to put it, pull that Finding Nemo Theater, Primeval Whirl area, and then like that side of the park, you could definitely do something.
Mm-hmm. But that would go against my last point.
Oh, okay.
Do you have anything you want to say before I do my last point?
Yeah, I think we're going to see another e-ticket in this park also. I think this park is the park that they're investing heavy in, they're investing strong, and I think we're going to see a lot of growth here.
I think so too.
And I think you are going to see a Mystic Manor ride coming into Asia.
I can see that. I like that idea.
Because there is a monkey in the ride. Coming along with that, like Expedition Everest has the Yeti. Mm-hmm. Cali River Rapids really doesn't have the animals with Cali River Rapids. Just the whole ride's about deforestation and how deforestation is bad. Or at least the simple-minded me thought of what that ride is about.
I think that's pretty much what it's about.
So I think you can just kind of theme rides to Asia, and I think that'll work out. And so in that Asia section, I think you Indiana Jones it with the whole like queue that just kind of goes straight, and then the building is back a little bit behind Everest. I think is where you're going to see that show building go, and you're going to put it in over there.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then if you didn't do that, I could also see Indiana Jones coming. But it's the movie. Does he have anyone? Because forgive my ignorance here. I sort of think Indiana Jones would fit into this park really well because it takes place in like jungle-y kind of areas and stuff like that. Does he have one where there's a lot of animal interaction?
Well, he's always interacting with snakes.
Uh-huh.
He's riding horses pretty often. Nothing really beyond that so much. There's the swinging monkey scene in 4 with Shia LaBeouf, but for the most part, well, no, he rides elephants in, Temple of Doom. That's about it. I think most of the animals are transportation based.
Okay, so maybe Indiana Jones would not fit into this park as well.
It's more of the mythical kind of storylines that go with these places that he interacts with.
But I think you could see. I think you're going to see another dark ride, whether it be Mystic Manor or Indiana Jones or something like that, also come into this park.
Okay, I can see that. I think Indiana Jones would have to be a different ride style than Disneyland's.
I thought about that, and then I realized I didn't care because there's so many Omni-Movers in the Magic Kingdom.
There are. That's true. I think that Dinosaur is going to go back to Countdown to Extinction. and they're going to remove ties to that movie that nobody knew was a movie.
I was like, does it actually have ties to that movie, or is it just?
Yeah, that is what that movie is. It's that dinosaur in it is the dinosaur from the movie. The statue out front is the dinosaur from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was probably their most half-assed job in retheming a ride in all of Disney, because they literally just threw a statue out front and there's new audio and there was a video change. Like, that was about it. But I think that Dino Land's going to expand to add more adult-friendly food and drink options, similar to the Harambe expansion.
Ooh, I do like that idea. The Harambe expansion is nice.
So I think they're going to do something similar down there. Yeah. And that ends my Animal Kingdom predictions. I personally think this park has the most potential. I think Epcot's going to get the most love over the next 10 to 15, but I think Animal Kingdom has the most potential.
Mm-hmm.
Because as of now, and as of the past 15 years, it's always been that half-day park.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason why a Disney park should be a half-day park. That's just my personal opinion.
Yep, I kind of agree. See, here's why I think they're going to invest heavily into this park, is because they're investing in a nighttime show. They're investing in the Pandora area, and they're going to find that people now, instead of making it a half-day park at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, it's a half-day park at the end of the day, and people don't start rolling in until 4.
I see that. So it's going to be weird because like everything's going to shift, because this is a busy park in the beginning of the day, and then once like that sun really kind of comes out, everyone leaves, because this park, it gets hot in that park. So I think they'll see a shift in when people are coming, and I think through additions and changes and stuff, they'll get it to where it is an all-day park.
Yeah.
So, do you have any wild card bombs to drop now?
Well, my big wild card was the circus was coming to town.
and we just blew that up right in the very beginning of the show.
That we did. If I were to say what I also think is going to happen, I think you're going to see transportation dramatically change on this resort.
Oh, I can already guarantee that's happening.
I think I think that they realize there's a problem with transportation, and I think you're going to see more of an effort to get people places, whether they add a third monorail line or more ferries or something like that. I can see that coming.
They definitely need to do something. Transportation is a major issue. It should never take, an hour to get from the Magic Kingdom to Hollywood Studios.
But it does.
It does, and that's the problem. Whether it involves, if Disney seems to put all their eggs in the bus basket, whether they need to create exclusive bus lanes like they did in front of Disney Springs, because I haven't taken a bus to or from Disney Springs yet since the whole remodel has happened. But it appears that buses are getting in and out easier than they used to. I don't know if they need to widen basically all the roads across property, all the major roads, and add those bus lanes in the middle so they're never stopping, or something.
I think that. I think you'll also probably see. I don't necessarily know if this is a game changer wild card, but I think you'll see new ways to get to the Magic Kingdom. Whether that be they continue the circuit on there and have a walkway that you can walk all the way there. Whether you get new bus transportation going from there to Magic Kingdom from the TTC or something. But I think you're going to have more ways to get to the Magic Kingdom now.
The transportation that they have now for the Magic Kingdom worked in the 70s. It doesn't work now. I mean, when they're filling that parking lot almost every day and trying to get that, like, and that, I think that's the problem. You know, they've tried to alleviate people leaving, you know, the park by going, you know, having bus loops for the resorts at the park itself. That's fine. Still gets crazy backed up. And the fact that those people that are just trying to get onto the shuttles or the ferries or the monorails, those are your standard day guests. They're the ones that are parking in the parking lot. They're the ones that are staying off site. And I don't really know, though, if Disney cares so much to cater to them as much as they want to cater to their guests.
Yeah, I don't know if Disney cares if it's a problem.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
but they cared enough to add the third dock or the extra dock to run the more consistent ferries. But I don't think they care more of a problem than that.
I also think that was also because they have that Fairy Tale Wishes cruise that they do,
mm-hmm.
where you pay like $150 and you get champagne and desserts or whatever on a boat during the fireworks. They can park that in that for loading and unloading, so it sits there for a while. I think of anything, I think Disney needs to upgrade their monorail system. This is just to go with your transportation thing. It's old, it's outdated, it's broken 98% of the time. I thought Top Thrill Dragster broke down a lot, and then you try to go there and monorails are always broken.
The monorails also all smell like pee.
Yep, because they probably are full of pee. Even with the new carpet, they're just full of pee.
Like, how often would you guess a monorail is cleaned?
Nightly, by a half-assed cleaning crew.
Mm-hmm.
I know that one for a fact.
Mm-hmm. So it's half-assed, nightly cleaned.
Yep, they're cleaned on staircases in the monorail shop. Yep, and it's mainly just windows, rails, just sanitize thing.
Not like a deep clean of the carpets and...
No.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Disney is going to test VR on something. I don't know what attraction it is. It's going to be a capacity nightmare and not very well received. And I think that there is going to be a lawsuit against Disney for letting a child use the tech when it's meant for older kids and up. And then nothing will come of the lawsuit. But it'll make national news.
Yeah, I could see that. Apparently,
that's
Fun Spot is not it doesn't enforce the age requirement. They just enforce a height requirement on the VR goggles.
Is there extra height?
Yes.
You have to be taller for those ones?
Uh-huh.
I think that park is going to have the hardest time of keeping them clean and working.
Oh, they're already like I did it yesterday actually, and the phone is already cracked a little bit.
I think you're going to have a hard time keeping kids with it on their head.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. Wow, these are all big wild cards. My next one is something that I think that that could happen the way that Disney's been nickel and diming people. I think Disney's going to unveil a Magic Band Plus exclusive attraction, to where you have to sign up for a reservation. If there is no reservation, there's no standby line at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think crowd response is going to be overwhelmingly negative. So then Disney's going to open up limited standby spots for a price per head. Response is still negative, but reviews of the attraction, whatever one they do, if this is going to be a new attraction, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be like that that's just kind of the way a lot of these Disney Universal attractions are. Like, oh my god, this is amazing, you have to do it, kind of thing. But they're going to limit who can ride it to Magic Band Plus.
Yeah, I'm really curious how Star Wars Land is going to open. If they're going to be Fast Pass Plus, or if it's going to open without Fast Pass. Because you've got Universal, who does like their big Potter stuff, which is kind of where I'm thinking with this. Is the big Potter stuff has all opened without Express, and none of them still doesn't have Express.
Yep.
And so it just makes me wonder: will Star Wars open without Fast Pass?
I don't think the company that invented the whole standby system and Fast Pass system can do that. I think they're gonna have it, and they're gonna push it because they can sell Magic Bands. And that's Magic Band now. You can take that little puck out and you can put it in all sorts of things.
You can shove it up your ass.
You can shove it up your ass, and you can also put it in a lightsaber, and your kid can lose it. It's yeah, it's gonna happen. So about the Walt Disney World 50th anniversary, I think it's going to extend past just the Magic Kingdom, Contemporary, and Polynesian, because those are what was there when they opened. I think all 4 parks, both water parks, Disney Springs, and all the resorts will feature something unique and special. Absurd amounts of money are going to be spent, but will pay off to record crowds, record number of capacity days, and room stays. Events are going to include shows, parades, fireworks, wrapped buses and monorails, a special castle, Spaceship Earth, Chinese Theater, Tree of Life. I get not unlike the 25th anniversary cake. But there will be negative aspects, will be that the record-breaking crowds and capacity days, Florida resident passes will be blocked out most days. Disney will make their money back and much more, but the whole event will be split with positive and negative reviews, and they will be polar extremes. So it's going to be like, this is the most amazing thing in the world, or this is the worst thing in the world. Nobody's going to be in the middle. But in reality, we'll receive we'll receive a new themed fireworks Magic Kingdom, and that's it.
I know. I mean, I think you're going so far. I literally just think it'll be new nighttime entertainment, but I think we'll get 4 new shows. I think every park is going to have new nighttime entertainment.
Like I would like, because what they did a lot over in Disneyland. That was a big a big deal.
New parade, new fireworks, new World of Color, and a lot of attractions got new animatronics. So they got the new Yetis. Peter Pan got a nice refurb. You got new Yetis in.
You got the Hatbox Ghost.
Yeah, Hatbox Ghost.
So I think, instead of just focusing all of this on one park that already has capacity issues, you spread the whole thing out over the entire property. So people, if they want to see everything, have to go from park to park. And then I guess, you really do something big at the Contemporary and the Polynesian, because those are your original hotels. But you can have stuff at the other ones as well. If they were to spend a shit ton of money and actually do something massive like this, they'd recoup their costs. I don't doubt it. But I think it would be, people would be saying that there's, not enough time to see everything. There's too much to see, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, we're just going to get new themed night shows, and a parade, stuff like that. And then on to my last one. This is my favorite one.
All right. What's this final?
Okay. So you're familiar with River Country, right? You're familiar with Discovery Island, right? This is what becomes the quote-unquote fifth gate, very similar to a Discovery Cove, where it's a premium limited ticket park, and it is a Pirates of the Caribbean park. You'll have River Country is going to be themed to like an English fort, kind of like in the movies. And it'll be the park entrance. It'll have a shop, restaurant, tavern, other themed venues, and of course the e-ticket attraction, because that's where your room is going to be. They will also have boat transportation to Discovery Island, aka Tortuga Island, where you'll have a tavern, restaurants, shops, smaller attractions, and theaters and a theater seating facing Bay Lake. The resort will be very Westworld-like. Did you watch Westworld?
Mm-hmm. I've seen everything but the final episode.
It'll be very Westworld-like, where actors as characters, obviously you're not going to have androids, but you'll have actors playing characters, and there'll be quests and other activities for people to do.
Mm-hmm.
The shops will include incredibly nice pirate wear, similar to Harry Potter robes and apparel. There'll be a water experience where people, I guess, as they are brought in they're recruited to be on the pirate ship or Royal Navy ship, and they battle with splashes and mist and other themed things. But then the big night show will be a stunt style show on Bay Lake, where you'll watch from this basically this theater seating, and it'll include pirate ships, cannon blasts, fireworks, explosion, gunshots, stunts, and the finale is going to be the big ship sinking into the water. And then bonus points. If there is an exclusive resort option on Tortuga Island, limited number of rooms, each highly themed, exclusive themed dining and tavern with characters and animatronics. Resort is not cheap, on par with higher Disney offerings, exclusive themed weddings available on island and in fort. And that's it.
That's a pretty out there idea that I like.
They have that island just sitting there. That island already has all your it's got water, it's got power, it's got all your utilities are all hooked up to it already, because people went to it. Because that, if for people that don't know, they had animals there, and that was a thing that Disney had, where you could pay to go to there and see animals, which ended up being the front part of Animal Kingdom.
Uh-huh.
You've got the water park there, which is just rotting away, doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a decent plot of land. So, have a fifth gate where it's like a limited thing, where like, oh, did you do the pirates thing? And they go, oh no, we didn't do the pirates thing this time. I think we're going to do it next year.
Yeah, it's kind of like their version of Discovery Cove.
Exactly. So, it's obviously you're not going to get 2 weeks of Walt Disney World visits if you go there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it could be a really cool themed experience. Pirates are obviously not going anywhere ever. So
no, I agree.
I think it could be the most themed Disney experience out there.
Yeah, I could see it.
But you're going to pay a hefty amount for it.
Would you bring the Shanghai Pirates ride to that land?
You very much could do a ride similar to that on the mainland there,
mm-hmm.
as the e-ticket, because I think it's going to have like an e-ticket, and there might be like a smaller attraction on the island, because this is not so much a park about rides as it is a park about, kind of the experiences
mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So I think you're probably not going to see many kids going there, but you're probably going to see like teenagers and stuff.
Yes. And I mean, you lower your capacity, you raise the price. This has to be something like that's $450 plus a day,
like stupid amounts. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then you raise it even more, and you get to stay in that resort that's potentially on the island as well, that has like, it's limited to like 10 rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my big wild card prediction.
That is a wild card of wild cards.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the future of the Walt Disney World.
Yeah. So we'll collect our check whenever they decide to send it to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we've predicted their next 15 years for them. Maybe further.
Yeah, no real timeline on this one.
No, there wasn't. It's with a park like this, with a park like Universal, it's too hard to do that, because how many times was Avatar pushed back?
I mean, I don't know if it necessarily was pushed back.
It was just, I think it was the predicted. It was, it's going to open up this year.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, it's going to open up this year. Well, nope, it's going to open up this year. So it's too hard to predict Disney opening dates.
I am very excited for Sex Tales Land. I think it's going to be bomb as fuck.
It will, but no one's going to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I think that's fine. So that's the problem, is I don't think it's going to have the merchandise that Potter had.
No. And I think that's going to be the big realization, is that there is no money to be made in Avatar theme stuff, because what, you're going to try to dress up like a Na'vi?
Mm-hmm. Sextail. Get yourself a sextail.
Get your
sextail right over here.
Is that going to be the Mickey ears of that land?
Mm-hmm.
Is everyone going to walk around with the sextails?
Sextail. Get your sextail here.
I don't know. So
love it.
So this was our longest episode.
Yeah.
But we knew it was going to be, though.
Mm-hmm.
So,
spoiler alert, this was supposed to be our year in review, last episode of season 1 episode.
Yeah, it was. But then reality happened and we weren't able to record.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we will close this episode then. I'm going to hopefully get... Today is Thursday. To our, hopefully, people that still follow us heard that we were recording today. So hopefully I can get this edited and uploaded tonight so you guys can have it for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I'm saying this, but if you want to listen to this show, you can find it on iTunes. But you've already found it, so because you're listening to it.
Yay, you found it on iTunes.
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to follow me, Ryan, never introduced myself in this episode. I'm Ryan. I'm one half of the Theme Park Guides, and you can follow me on Twitter at The Park Guides. I do some Instagram stuff, but not too often, just kind of posting old pictures and stuff at the Theme Park Guides. And then if you want to see what I'm drinking at the moment, I'm not drinking anything. I was drinking water today.
Out of a coffee cup?
It's out of a enamel coated camping mug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like those mugs. See?
No, I can't. I don't have the webcam on.
That was the sound of it.
Okay.
But you can follow me on Untapped. I am Eisentrout.
Hmm.
Those are my places.
I am Drew the Intern on Twitter, part of the In the Loop podcast, another great podcast that also took a very long break.
Yeah, but then you put out a bunch of episodes right in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But
and I was drinking water out of my In the Loop Tervis.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like Tervises. So for people who drink out of Tervises, I feel like I slurp too much.
I think, yeah, I could see that. And you can hear that ice in there too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's insulated, so that ice is going to stay icy longer.
Mm-hmm. I will say my Swell water bottle keeps water colder than my Tervis.
Oh, yeah?
So if I were to choose one or the other, I like my Swell better.
Okay. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
The girlfriend really likes Tervises, so we have a decent selection of Tervises.
I have one. It has In the Loop on it.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
You drink on Untapped too, don't you?
Yeah, at Drew the Intern. Really haven't been drinking a whole lot because I've been really busy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just staying away from podcasts. There's a lot of stuff going on down here right now.
Like, to give you a heads up of how busy I am, my Christmas tree is still up.
Oh, mine's up too. We just haven't had a chance.
Yeah, no, it'll come down eventually.
If people don't realize it, I work 2 jobs. So I work a full-time job and then a part-time job. I was lucky enough to have today off. I usually don't get days off.
I like how you and I were both off today.
I know, right? How does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to listen, if you want to read what we're talking about on everyday things, we have a Twitter too. It's at Park Blueprints.
And half the time it's me accidentally tweeting on Park Blueprints.
Yeah, I like the mobile app, even on Windows Phone, which is what I use. You can have multiple accounts on the Twitter.
Yeah, sometimes I'll open up my account and I'll have 14 notifications. I can't find them. I'm like, oh, it's because I got Blueprints notifications.
We also have an email address at It's themeparkblueprints@gmail.com, which I think we actually got an email not too long ago. So I'm actually going to actively pull this up and give them a shout out because you guys have all slacked on sending us emails.
In our longest episode ever, we are now waiting for the internet to load our email.
So where is it here? Hold on. I know I have it. Oh, here we go. This was on December 22nd, so not too long ago. Mm-hmm. This is from Nicholas.
Hi.
Hey, Nicholas. He says, "Hi. I just started watching the show. I don't know what he's watching, but he started.
Mm-hmm.
He started watching the show like 2 weeks ago, and I finally finished all your current episodes. You're doing a great job."
No, thanks, man.
Thank you. This has become one of my favorite theme park podcasts. Wow.
Oh, thanks, man.
Look at those accolades. And he said, also for HHN, so we're getting feedback for our last episode, which was Horror Nights.
Mm-hmm.
He said, also for HHN, even though you didn't really mention what houses they might do in the future, I could totally see them doing Trick or Treat, which is from the guys who made Krampus, and would really translate well into a house.
Yeah.
It would. Anyway, I would really love you to try. He doesn't really love us. I don't know why I paused right there. I would really love you to try an international park like Europa Park, since Drew really likes that park, as you haven't done an international park yet. Thanks for making such a great podcast and keep it up.
Thanks, Nicholas.
So, good words from Nicholas. So
a nice guy.
All of our other people that listen to this that don't send us emails, send us an email.
Yeah.
It's always exciting to see an email pop up and I go, "Oh wow, what?" So it's a little more personal, I think, than a tweet. So I think that does it. We're approaching like an hour and 45 minutes on this one.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta edit this. You've got to upload it, and that's probably gonna take a bit.
Yeah, I know.
So, well, thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully you made it to the end of this show.
I mean, they probably made it to the end of the important show and then left 10 minutes ago as we just rambled on about how you can contact us.
So, Nicholas, if you heard your email at the end, send us a tweet.
Yeah.
I really want to know. Just from Nicholas. Nobody else send us a tweet. So, Zach, don't send us a tweet.
No, Zach can send us a tweet. He lives in Orlando now, too.
He does.
Kansas lives in Orlando.
Kansas. So, yeah, keep sending us tweets, guys. We like them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna sign off now. I'm gonna say good night, guys. Goodbye. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good evening and good night.
Have a good one.
Oh, pardon me. I'm looking for the Magic Kingdom. Do you know the way? Please, sir. Do you know the way to the Magic Kingdom? Do you know the way to the Magic Kingdom? Sure I do. Well, can you fly?
You can fly to a magic kingdom that's right outside your hotel window. To Walt Disney World in Florida. On Easter, the airline of Walt Disney World. The airline that believes dreams really can come true. The wings of man.